and welcome to Spectrum News at 9. My name is Xavier Robert, coming to you live from the beautiful hills of Ibiakuran. Let's take a look at the headlines. President Buhari wishes Shettima the best after his unveiling. NCDC issues high alert on Marburg virus disease. Plus, Sunak and Truss reach final 2 in race to become PM. Details of these stories and more in a moment.
Centralize to your right, in hand. Then to your right a little. Your right a little. Your right a little. Manaka, no, right. Right. After. Okay. I'm going to Mr. Savior.
First in our news tonight, the All Progressives Congress presidential APC candidate Bola Tinubu has officially unveiled former Borno State Governor Kashim Shettima as his running mate. This comes barely 2 weeks after the national leader of the party picked the lawmaker as his vice presidential candidate. Tinubu, who is a former Lagos State governor alongside other APC stalwarts, including the party's national chairman Abdullahi Adamu, officially unveiled Shettima at the Musa Yaradua Center in Abuja today. In a related development, President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed good wishes for the vice presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress APC, Senator Kashim Shettima, and his principal Bola Tinubu in the 2023 presidential election. The president issued the APC aspirants well when he received the vice presidential candidate at the State House in Abuja after his unveiling. President Buhari said he was very happy with the choice of the former governor of Borno State as running mate. He expressed optimism that the APC ticket would emerge victorious in the 2023 elections. The president's remarks were made known in a statement by his senior special assistant on media and publicity, Garba Shehu. In the meantime, President Buhari has projected that the federal government had completed at least 266 projects between 2015 and 2022. The president stated this at the launch of a 554-page compendium of ecological projects undertaken by his administration before the commencement of the Federal Executive Council meeting. While directing government ministries, departments and agencies to give adequate publicity to the administration's achievements in this area, he added that 332 ecological projects were approved since 2015, out of which 266 were accomplished, while the remaining 66 are at different stages of completion. The president also commended the secretary to the government of the Federation, Bas Mustafa, and the management teams of the Ecological Project Office for the judicious use of available resources for effective implementation of approved projects, as well as the initiative for publication. President Buhari urged states and local governments to judiciously use their shares of the ecological fund strictly for ecological projects towards addressing problems in their areas. In education, the presidency has backtracked on the ultimatum issued by President Muhammadu Buhari to end the strike by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. Senior Special Assistant on Media and Publicity to the President, Garba Shehu, said the outcome of a recent meeting held by President Muhammadu Buhari with relevant ministries, departments and agencies to end the agitations by university unions had gone beyond spin doctoring and conjectures. According to Shehu, it was a pity that almost all media houses allowed themselves to be deceived by interested sources that are not the authorized spokesmen of government. Shehu said an ultimatum was never given to the Ministry of Education, but that the minister had, during the meeting, requested that his labor counterpart hands off the negotiation to allow him lead and conclude what he had earlier started with the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. The presidential aide said the education minister had promised to get an agreement, possibly within 2 or 3 weeks. Still in education, the president of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, Professor Emmanuel Osodeke, has slammed the federal government for allegedly failing to prioritize education in Nigeria. Osodeke observed that the woes bedeviling the sector will not end until the ruling elite were forced to train their children in public schools. While dismissing the 2-week ultimatum issued to ministers by President Muhammadu Buhari to end the strike, Osodeke stated that ASU had concluded negotiations with the government and was only waiting for the ministers to sign the agreement reached with the university lecturers. The ASU president also noted that Nigeria was losing its professionals in the medical line to other countries, thereby leading to brain drain in the education sector. Recall that President Buhari yesterday directed the education minister to proffer a solution to the continued industrial action by the lecturers and report back to him in 2 weeks. He also instructed the Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, as well as the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, who were also present, to be in attendance in all the meetings to speedily resolve the crisis. Away from that, Minister of Aviation Hadi Sirika has appealed to workers in the aviation sector not to contemplate joining the proposed protests being mobilized by the Nigerian Labour Congress in support of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. His plea follows threats by workers in the sector to shut down airports in solidarity with ASU. Reacting to the threat after the Federal Executive Council meeting presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari, Sirika said the job of aviation management went beyond flying, as its impact transcended all sectors of the economy. He asked the workers to think about the general activity in the economy of Nigeria without trivializing it. In a separate development, federal government has flagged off an agricultural scheme aimed at empowering at least 1,000 citizens in each of the 36 states of the Federation. The selected beneficiaries will receive fresh fish farming training and a startup fund. Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development Dr. Muhammad Abubakar, who flagged off the exercise in Enugu for the Southeast Zone, said the government was keen on diversification of resources. Abubakar outlined the federal government's several intervention schemes and policies, noting that the ministry had also provided technical support to the Joint Faith Peace Initiative, leading to the empowerment of 523 beneficiaries in fish and poultry farming in the Buhari Area Council of the FCT. On legislative matters now, Senate has passed the Nigerian Startup Bill in 2022 after the consideration of a report by the Committee on ICT and Cyber Security. In his presentation, Chairman of the committee, Senator Oseni Yakubu, said the bill seeks to provide for the establishment of the National Council for Digital Innovation and Entrepreneurship. According to him, upon its establishment, the Council would create and develop an enabling environment for technology-enabled startups in Nigeria. Meanwhile, a bill for an act to provide for the ease of doing business to ensure transparency, efficiency and productivity in Nigeria and for other related matters scaled second reading. Still from the legislature, Senate has passed the Electricity Bill 2022. The bill's passage was sequel to the consideration of a report by the Committee on Power. In his presentation, Chairman of the committee, Senator Gabriel Suswam, said the bill seeks to, among other things, provide an ideal legal and institutional framework to leverage the modest gains of the privatization phase of the electric power sector in Nigeria. He added that when signed into law, the bill would improve utilization of generated power through increased investments in new technologies to enhance transmission and distribution of generated power to minimize aggregate value chain losses. Now, the Senate has confirmed Umar Yahaya and as co-chairman of the Governing Council of Unclaimed Funds Trust Fund today in Abuja. The confirmation followed a report by the Senate Committee on Chairman, the Senate Committee Chairman on Banking, Insurance and Other Financial Institutions, Senator Uba Sani. In his report, Senator Sani noted that the nominee was screened in line with the parliamentary procedure and found competent to serve in the capacity in which President Muhammadu Buhari had nominated him. Meanwhile, the Senate has confirmed the nomination of Joe Ohiani as the Director General of the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission (ICRC). The nominee's confirmation followed the consideration of the Committee on Works report. In his presentation, the chairman of the committee, Senator Adamu Aliero, said Ohiani was asked questions on the mandate of ICRC and how he would apply the knowledge and experience gathered over time to enhance the workings of the commission. Aliero informed his colleagues that the nominee responded intelligently and provided satisfactory answers to all questions asked. In politics, the People's Democratic Party has held the judgment by the appeal court in Akure, the Ondo State capital, that upheld Senator Ademola Adeleke as the rightful candidate for the Osun governorship election. In a statement by its National Publicity Secretary, Debo Ologunagba, the PDP noted that the court judgment had put to rest all contestations regarding the validity of Adeleke's candidacy. It could be recalled that a PDP chieftain, Dotun Babayemi, had contested the party's governorship primary at the High Court, challenging the validity of the primary conducted by the national leadership of the party, but lost in the court. Meanwhile, Senator Ademola Adeleke has received his certificate of return from the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC). The certificate was presented to him in Osogbo, the Osun State capital. Recall that Adeleke, candidate of the People's Democratic Party (PDP), was announced a winner of the election on Sunday with 403,371 votes. Adeleke emerged the winner of the Osun governorship election by polling the highest vote to beat his major contender, incumbent Governor Boyega Oyetola. Still in politics, a chieftain of the All Progressives Congress (APC) and governorship aspirant, Senator Magnus Abe, has announced his exit from the ruling party. Abe, who represented Rivers Southeast Senatorial District in the National Assembly until 2019, announced his withdrawal of the party's membership to newsmen today. Amid the crisis of the Rivers State chapter of the party, he explained that he had left the party to achieve his political ambition elsewhere. Reports say Senator Abe has, for a long time, been at loggerheads with the immediate past Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, over the leadership of the APC in the state. Following his exit from the party, he, however, declined to reveal what political party he intended to join. The governorship hopeful also clarified that he did not submit a formal resignation letter to inform the party's leadership of his exit. The Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has promised that the 2023 general election will be the best in the chain of elections it has conducted so far. The Commission's assurance comes on the heels of commendations it got for the smooth conduct of the Osun State governorship election last Saturday. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu spoke when he hosted delegations of the International Republican Institute and the National Democratic Institute in Abuja. Yakubu, however, admitted that much work still needed to be done and hinted that 2023 general election will be INEC's best ever.
And we assure you that we'll continue to work not only hard but even harder to deliver the 2023 general elections. There is still a lot.
In another development, National Pension Commission (PENCOM) has clarified that the federal government had not borrowed money from any pension fund administrator. PENCOM's head of corporate services, Abdul Kader Dahiru, stated this in Abuja while speaking at a stakeholders forum organized by the Public Complaint Commission. The hero noted that the clarification was in response to complaints that a large chunk of the government's recurrent spending was by borrowing from pension funds. He explained that instead of the government borrowing pension funds, it was the teams of pension fund administrators that invested in government bonds to enhance their returns and risk considerations. Back here, Akwa Ibom State government has approved the payment of gratuities to retired primary school teachers in the state. The acting chairman of the State Universal Basic Education Board, Subab Inyobong Akpan, who confirmed this, said the payment of the gratuity will be done in batches. According to him, the commitment of the government to pay the affected retirees is aimed at ameliorating the sufferings of the teachers, and Governor Dami Manuel is determined to clear the backlog of gratuities in the state. The acting board chairman further noted that government will ensure orderliness in the payment of the backlog of gratuities to the affected retirees, and thanked Governor Emmanuel for taking steps to settle the backlog. Akwan also applauded the head of civil service, Elder Efyong Isien, Commissioner for Education, Idong Esere Tiabet, and the Commissioner for Local Government and Chieftaincy Affairs, Frank Kachibong, for facilitating the payment process. Meanwhile, the coalition of retired primary school teachers and their next of kin have applauded the state government's effort in improving the payment of gratuities to its members in the state. However, they appealed for more commitment from the government to ameliorate the sufferings of its members. Public Relations Officer of the Association, Ubong Major, who made this known while speaking with Spectrum Television, said the approved fund was not enough to clear the backlog of debts owed its members. A correspondent has this report.
Next of kin, Akwa Ibom State Chapter have over time protested the non-payment of pension to primary school retirees and backlog of debt owed its members by the state government. In response, the government has approved the immediate release of funds for the payment of gratuity to retired primary school teachers in the state. However, the public relations officer of the association, Ubong Major, who commended the government for the released fund, lamented the neglect suffered by members of the association over time and pleaded for more attention.
Well, I really applaud the government for that. But if we want to see it, what is the total indebtedness in which the government have released 1 billion naira? You see, this issue of the payment of entitlement to the retired teachers has become an endemic in the state, which left so many Akwa Ibomites to be, a kind of flabbergasted and dumbfounded. The problem is that the total indebtedness is 87 billion. 894,486.76 million naira. But now the government just released the sum of 1 billion naira, in which does that even pay when we say that half bread is better than none? This one is not even up to should I say a half of should I use the word per four of a bonds? There are something that we play politics with, but when it comes to the life of the people, more especially the elderly people that depend on pension and gratuity, many of them, they are just depending for that for survival. You don't play politics for it.
He further advocated for commitments to settle the backlog of accumulated debt to further ameliorate the suffering of its members.
I'm pleading with this government, this administration. You know that we have some months left for this administration to go. Please, Your Excellency, I really appreciate you have released 1 billion naira. Please, Your Excellency, if you can as well release 1 billion naira each month before the end of this administration, it will go a long way. Or you just release 5 billion naira, it will go a long way, because these people are dying.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
The coalition of retired primary school teachers and next of kin are also calling on other labor unions to help solicit that the government attend to their plights. Edidion Martin, reporting for Spectrum Television.
Still to come in the news. Another blackout looms as national grid collapses for 6th time in 2022. Do stay with us. Many thanks for staying tuned. Moving on now to Africa, where Mali is expelling the spokesman of the UN's peacekeeping force in the country, Olivier Salgado. Confirming this, the Malian Foreign Ministry cited posts Salgado made on Twitter about a diplomatic incident with Ivory Coast that has seared relations with the UN. In a statement, the government said the spokesman for the United Nations Stabilization Mission in Mali had been given 72 hours to leave over what it called tendentious and unacceptable posts he made on Twitter. Last week, Mali announced it was suspending all new rotations of the peacekeeping mission, including those already scheduled for national security reasons. The announcement came just days after the Malian authorities arrested 49 Ivorian soldiers it later described as mercenaries, intent on toppling the country's military-led government. Still in Africa, Kenya presidential running mates Rigathi Gachagua and Martha Karua are facing each other for a deputy presidential debate in Nairobi, with the subject of corruption dominating the meeting. Recall that the former aide of President Uhuru Kenyatta was charged with acquiring more than $60 million in unexplained circumstances. Defending her previous record as a minister, activist and member of parliament, Karua said she would execute her roles in accordance with the law, a tacit attack on Ruto, who fell out with President Kenyatta at the beginning of their second term. A debate for presidential candidates is planned for next Tuesday, but William Ruto of the Kenya-Kwanza Alliance has vowed to keep away from it, accusing the media of bias.
I think we really need to come clean, because if you cannot account for your wealth, you cannot be a good steward of the money of the people of Kenya.
I don't have billions, I have 203 million into that account. And that is part of my wealth. I'm worth 800 million, minus the 200 they are holding, another 600.
We have repeatedly said with my captain that whether it's my daughter, my blood relative, or a member of the opposing camp, the law must apply equally to all. And everybody must have a swift chance to clear their name in court, or for the court to declare them guilty.
It looks like he doesn't remember that when he sought to be president for 10 years, he knew what 10 years is all about. He cannot complain that people are asking him to go. Nobody is asking him to go, it's the Constitution. But he's trying to circumvent the Constitution to plant a proxy government, to continue governing from outside State House through Raila Odinga and Martha Karua.
On the foreign scene, conservative parliamentarians have voted for the final two candidates to replace Boris Johnson. Rishi Sunak with 137 votes and Liz Truss with 113 votes made the final two, while Penny Mordaunt was knocked out with 105 votes. The final two will face a ballot of 160,000 Tory party members, with the result due on September 5. In the previous round, Sunak was top, while Mordaunt came second and Truss third after being knocked out. Mordaunt said the Tories would go forward together. Still on the foreign scene, Sri Lanka's President-elect Ranil Wickremesinghe has vowed to take tough action against anyone resorting to what he called the undemocratic means that led to his predecessor's ouster. The six-time Prime Minister said he will not bow to violence after winning a parliamentary vote to succeed Gotabaya Rajapaksa, who fled the country and resigned last week. Reports say shortly after his election, he met with elite police and army units guarding the national parliament to thank them for defending key state symbols. It could be recalled that the overrunning of the presidential palace earlier this month by protesters against Rajapaksa's handling of the economy saw him flee the premises and then the country. Wickremesinghe is widely seen as a proxy of the once powerful Rajapaksa family, but he denied that he was friends with them. Elsewhere, wildfires are raging across Europe, where a heat wave has intensified drought conditions. Though temperatures have reportedly cooled in France and the UK, firefighters are still tackling blazes in Greece, Spain, and Italy. The fires in France's badly hit southwest have started to be brought under control, and as the heat wave moves northeast, low water levels are hampering transport on rivers in Germany. Heat waves have become more frequent, more intense, and last longer because of human-induced climate change. The world has already warmed by about 1.1 degrees Celsius since the industrial era began, and temperatures will keep rising unless governments around the world make steep cuts to emissions. More than 1,000 deaths have been linked to the extremely high temperatures in Portugal, while in Spain it is at least 500. Now, United States President Joe Biden has announced that the country will bring together leaders from across the African continent for a major summit in Washington, D.C. this December to discuss challenges from food security to climate change. In a statement, Biden said the summit would demonstrate the United States' enduring commitment to Africa and will underscore the importance of U.S.-Africa relations and increase cooperation on shared global priorities. The U.S.-Africa Leaders Summit, scheduled for December 13 through 15, was announced simultaneously in virtual remarks by Vice President Kamala Harris to the U.S.-Africa Business Summit in Marrakesh, Morocco. Biden said about 50 African leaders were expected to join Biden for the December 13 to 15 series of meetings. Now in Russia, the Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov says the geographical objectives of Moscow's self-described special military operation in Ukraine are no longer limited to the eastern Donbas region, but include a number of other territories. Lavrov said Russia was also now focused on the regions of Kherson and Zaporizhia in southern Ukraine, as well as a number of other territories. He added that Russia's objectives would expand further if Kyiv's Western allies supplied Ukraine with long-range weapons. To France now, where President Emmanuel Macron has called for the resumption of long-stalled peace talks between Israel and the Palestinians to prevent simmering tensions in one of the Middle East's longest conflicts from boiling over again. Speaking alongside Palestinian leader Mahmoud Abbas in the presidential palace in Paris, Macron said the situation in East Jerusalem and the Palestinian territories remained more than worrying. In the short term, Macron said there was a need to put an end to Israel's unilateral measures in the occupied West Bank, including the expansion of Jewish settlements and evictions of Palestinian families from their homes. And now it's time for the latest business and stock market stories. We have Blyden Ukem standing by.
It is another business day. My name is Blyden Ukem. In the news, we begin with the potential impact of ASU strike in Nigeria's businesses. Flights, bank services are likely to face disruption amid strike actions in view. Flights and banking operations across the country could be disrupted in the coming days as unions in the aviation and banking industry threaten to strike alongside the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. The Association of Nigeria's Aviation... Thank you, Xavier Roberts. Good evening. It is another business day. My name is Blyden Ukem. We begin with brake makers' 4-day warning strike. Premium Bread Makers Association of Nigeria, PBAN, comprising owners, managers, directors, partners of premium bakeries in Nigeria, will be embarking on a 4-day warning strike beginning on Thursday, July 21st, 2022. The strike decision was taken by the bread makers due to increasing prices of baking materials in the country. The entrepreneurs who disclosed that it had become impossible to operate bakeries in Nigeria asked the federal government to stop charging a 15% wheat development levy on wheat imports. President of the association, Emmanuel Honora, and Public and Industrial Relations Officer, Babalola Thomas, also asked NAFDAC to review downwards the 154,000 naira penalty charge to bakeries on late renewal of certificates. Also, PBAN requested that the federal government should give grants and soft loans to its members through the CBN Small and Medium Enterprise Schemes. Still in Nigeria, CBN warns Nigerians to stop converting naira to dollar. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has issued a stern warnings to Nigerians converting naira to the US dollar. According to CBN, it would place a post-no debits on bank accounts of any customer violating this rule. Governor of the Apex Bank, Godwin Emefiele, read the riot act during the Monetary Policy Committee MPC meeting on Tuesday, specifically warned politicians amid rising electioneering spending. The CBN governor's statement read, "As far as we are concerned, we monitor liquidity in the subsystem. We will use our powers to mop up cash and for those taking money from the banks to buy dollars. It is illegal to do so. If the security agencies hold you, you will know the implication of that." Still talking about businesses, petroleum transporters have complained about federal government's 500 billion naira debt, stating that it's causing fuel scarcity. The Association of Distributors and Transporters Petroleum Products, ADITOP, has said is facing a major challenge because federal government is owing its members unpaid bridging claims. The Nigerian government is owing the Oil Industry Union about 500 billion naira, and ADITOP stated that the unpaid bridging claims is disrupting petroleum products transportation within the country. According to ADITOP, this is contributing to the fuel scarcity across the country. According to recent report, fuel stations are beginning to sell fuel above 170 naira due to the scarcity and rise in crude oil price. Meanwhile, the consultant ADITOP, Maurice Ibe, said the government was owing 500 billion naira to individuals in the union. However, only 74 billion naira had been paid to the union. I'm talking about Nigeria's electricity. The Nigerian national grid collapsed on Wednesday morning, a few weeks after the federal government moved to address the chronic power supply problems in the country. According to a Twitter statement by Eco Electricity Distribution Company, the grid collapsed at 11:27 a.m. on Wednesday and has been unable to receive bulk electricity from the national supply line. The incident is the 6th in nearly 7 months this year. Meanwhile, the statement read, "Dear customer, we are working with our TCN partners to ascertain the cause of the collapse and a possible restoration timeline. We will keep you updated on the situation." Last month, the federal government activated a partial power purchase agreement, PPA, with generation companies for the supply of 5,505 megawatts of electricity for peak generation and a base load of 4,893 megawatts. The agreement guarantees payment for gas supplied to the GenCos by gas companies and also ensures that the generation companies are paid for power supplied to the national grid. And it's time for the Nigerian stock market report. The BS returned. The current market capitalization on the Nigerian Stock Exchange is 28.1 trillion naira. But at the end of today's trading session on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, the benchmark All-Share Index pared 122.36 basis points to close at 52,186.52 points. A total of 238.27 million shares in 3,814 deals, corresponding to a market value of 3.336 billion naira were traded. When compared with yesterday's trading day, today's data shows 16% improvement in volume, 20% improvement in turnover, but 8% decline in deals. In aggregate, 103 listed equities participated in trading, ending with 13 gainers and 22 losers. Multiverse mining and exploration led the gainers with 9.88% share price appreciation, closing at 1 naira 78 kobo per share. On the losing side, Nigerian Aviation Handling Corporation came out last with an end-of-day price depreciation of 10% at 5 naira 40 kobo per share. Living Trust Mortgage Bank recorded the highest volume of 40.9 million traded shares. This is all on business news today. And back to Xavier Robert for the rest of the news.
Still to come in the news. CAF releases awards final nominees. Do stay with us. Now in health, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control (NCDC) has issued a high alert on the disease, but stated that no case has been recorded in Nigeria. This is as the World Health Organization (WHO) confirmed an outbreak of Marburg virus disease in neighboring country Ghana. In its high alert following the second incidence of the virus in West Africa, the NCDC explained that the zoonotic disease had been reported in two unrelated males, a 26-year-old and a 51-year-old, who both died from the disease. The center also noted that based on available data, the overall risk of both importation of the disease and its potential impact on the Nigerian population was said to be moderate, as assessed by experts and NCDC. The disease was first discovered in 1967 following outbreaks in Marburg and Frankfurt in Germany and Belgrade, Serbia. Since then, outbreaks and sporadic cases have been reported in some African countries. The NCDC DG, Dr. Ifedayo Adetifa, placed the Federal Ministry of Health's Port Health Services at the nation's borders on red alert. Similarly, the Nigerian Medical Association also called for immediate containment measures at the entry points, as well as increased awareness of the disease. Still in health, the Director General of the World Trade Organization, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, wants Nigeria and Africa to strengthen their manufacturing capacities in order to produce vaccines. Okonjo-Iweala said this during her visit to the Minister of State for Industry, Trade and Investment, Mariam Katagum, in Abuja, as a follow-up to the 12th WTO Ministerial Conference in Geneva, Switzerland. Okonjo-Iweala said the events of COVID-19, where developed countries placed restrictions on vaccines going to developing nations, should serve as an eye-opener to all. She noted that it was not good enough that Africa imported 99% of its vaccines and 95% of pharmaceutical products. She further said the trade-related aspects of intellectual property rights agreement had made provisions for any country with capacity to override patent rights and manufacture COVID-19 vaccine. and urged Nigeria to rise up to the occasion. Let's over now to Bright James for trending sports stories.
Thank you, Sylvia Roberts. Good evening and welcome to the Sports Desk. I am Bright James. We'll be in from tennis, where Andrei Rublev continued his love affair with the Hamburg European Open, moving past lucky loser Ricardas Berinkas 6-3, 6-4 to reach the second round. The second seed hit through the Lithuanian with his precise and powerful ground strokes, while he stepped up his intensity in the key moments to struggle of the second set. Berinkas' comeback, advancing after 73 minutes. Rublev now holds a 10-2 record at the ATP 500 clay court event, having advanced to the finals in 2019 before he defeated Stefanos Tsitsipas to lift the trophy in his previous appearance in 2020. Now to Oregon, where quartets of Nigerian sprinters Favour Philly, Grace Nwokocha, Rosemary Chukwuma and Udodi Nwuzurike were in action on day 5 of the Oregon 2022 World Championships in Eugene, participating in the 200 meters semifinals. The women's 200 meters seems to be at the very highest level ever. Favour Philly came very close to being the first Nigerian to make the 200 meters final since 2013, when she clocked a time of 22.30 seconds to take third in the third semifinal, just missing out on an automatic sport, as Shirley and Fraser Price won that semifinal hit in 21.83 seconds. Grace Nwokocha was in the semifinal before that, placing fifth with a time of 22.49 seconds, just 0.05 of a second outside her personal best, while Rosemary Chukwuma clocked a respectable 22.72 seconds for a 7th place finish in the first semifinal. Meanwhile, Udodi Nwuzurike was in action in the men's 200 meters, returning a time of 20.39 seconds for 6th in the semifinal, won by Nwalaos in 19.62 seconds. Now to football stories, where the Confederation of African Football will tomorrow Thursday award players from the region in Rabat, Morocco. Now, here's a list of contenders ahead of the ceremony for Rabat later tomorrow. For the Men's Player of the Year nominees, Sadio Mane, Edouard Mendy, both of Senegal, and Mohamed Salah of Egypt make the cut. For Club Player of the Year, Alou Dieng, Mohamed El Shenawi, both of Al Ahly and Egypt, Akraf Dari of Wydad Casablanca and Morocco make the cut. For Young Player of the Year, Karim Konaté of Ivory Coast, Hannibal Mejbri of Tunisia, and Pape Metessa of Senegal are all nominated for Coach of the Year. Senegalese Aliou Cissé leads the nominations alongside Waliou Regragui of Wydad Athletic and Carlos Queiroz of Egypt. For National Team of the Year, nominated are Cameroon, Egypt, and Senegal. Club of the Year nominees include Renaissance Berkane, Wydad, both of Morocco, and Al Ahly of Egypt. Now talking transfers, finally, Argentine forward Paulo Dybala signed for Jose Mourinho's Roma on a free transfer from Juventus. The 28-year-old attacker joins on a 3-year deal, with his contract with Juventus having ended in June. Dybala scored 115 goals in 293 appearances for the Turin-based club after joining from Palermo in 2015, winning 5 Serie A titles. And that's it on the sports this evening. Over now to Beach Brand for entertainment news.
I'm Beto Bryan. First on our bulletin this evening, Netflix loses additional 970,000 subscribers in second quarter of 2022. The streaming giants confirmed the figures on Tuesday, bringing its loss to over 1 million subscribers in the first 2 quarters of the year. According to Netflix Quarter 2 report, it performed better than expected in spite of the loss, which was predicted to exceed 2 million subscribers. The company now projects at least 1 million subscribers by quarter 3. Recall that an unprecedented loss of 200,000 subscribers was announced in Q1 of the year. The company had announced the loss in April alongside moves to salvage its revenue, including introducing ad service and recent laying off of 300 staffers. At $220.67 million, Netflix still owns a lion's share of the global streaming service market. According to The Hollywood Reporter, the company has seen roughly 8% growth this year, with its revenue hitting $7.97 billion in the second quarter of 2022. Away from that now, Burna Boy has broken a record on the Billboard's charts. The Afrobeats and Grammy winner, Burna Boy, has continued with his stellar digital performance, having an impressive record-breaking performance on the Billboard charts. In the latest issues of Billboard charts, Burna Boy became the first Nigerian artist to have 3 projects on the Billboard 200, with his new album Love Damini joining Grammy-winning album Twice as Tall and Grammy-nominated album African Giant on the album's chart. Burna Boy also became the artist with the most entries on the Billboard Afrobeats charts, with 23 entries, and all 19 tracks from his album Love Damini debuted on the charts. Burna Boy's Love Damini has so far enjoyed impressive digital success internationally, even as critics have described the album as his weakest in a blistering 5-year run that has spawned 4 albums. And last but not the least from our bulletins this evening, rapper CDQ laments rising cost of living in Nigeria. Nigerian rapper Sodiq Abubakar Yusuf, popularly known as CDQ, has expressed worry over the rising cost of living in Nigeria. The music star made this known via his verified Twitter page on Wednesday, July 20, 2022. He asked the question on how did we get here as a country and what happened to our currency that it has depreciated to the point that it's even lower than the Ghanaian cedis. He's also asking where the development of all the monies borrowed have been spent on, with the current set of leaders leading as though they did not have a heart or conscience at all. He asked if Nigerians were going to ignore the fact that things are really getting difficult for the masses day by day in Nigeria, with people getting tired already. He cited instances to include sachet water, which was formerly 5 naira but now priced at 20 naira. He also did draw comparisons to the price of a loaf of bread, which formerly went for 120 naira, but at now is sold at 200 naira. He also put in perspective the cost of diesel, which is now 800 naira per litre. He also did point out that there is yet no increase to the minimum wages earned by workers in Nigeria. CDQ would not be the first Nigerian celebrity to voice out following the rise in the cost of living in our current situation in Nigeria. That's our package from the entertainment desk this evening. I am Beto Brian, thanking you for watching. Now over to Xavier Roberts.
Watching Spectrum News at 9. My name is Xavier Robert. Do have a terrific night rest.